My name is Matthew Higgins, and I'm one of the directors of the movie Beelzebub, and I'm here today to talk to you about how we edited it all together and all about the technology behind that, how we learn. And as you'll be seeing now, I have Final Cut Pro file up. This is the project file which we use for editing. And so initially what we did was we cut all these shots. As you can see here that all these shots are separated. And what we do initially is we split them. We add all the clips we got in, add everything in to make one long movie, and then that's when we start cutting it down, removing what we called dead space, which is clips you don't need, clips you can cut, which is just wasting time. And in movies, it's all about the editing is all about cutting down the time and making it as smooth and as fast as possible. And we develop these skills, understanding of when and where it's appropriate to cut. So, for example, here we cut a lot more often, whereas things like here in the stairwell shot, this is where we spend a lot more time having a slower pace of editing. So from there we learned to overlay certain sort of clips. As you can see here, we've got this overlaid with the audio. We've got another clip on top of it, on clip 20 on top of clip 19. And basically, in terms of the audio, if I show you here, let's go to this one. You can see these little dots that I'm pressing right now circling with the diamond triangle. These are what's known as control points. So with the audio, we learned how to use these, and basically what they can do is they can increase or decrease the volume of the music, and this is really useful because in a sort of a tense moment, you might want the music to swell and increase, but in a sort of quieter moment, you want the music sort of down. And also, let me show you an example of here. So you can see these little things here. You can sort of see this little line here, and this is basically where we fade out the music slowly, so that it's a more of a smooth transition. We also learned to overlay certain clips. If I go to this clip of Ellie and her hands, so here you can see we've got this overlaid. So as you'll be seeing here, video. So what we've done is, this is what's known as opacity. So we got 100%. So basically what this does is this overlays several images on top of one another. So if we reduce the opacity, you can see that the image sort of goes away. We can also do different blend modes, like this, different things like this. And also on a lot of these clips, we also applied what's known as color correction. So if we show you here, this can change the color. Let's make it more like this. And basically what it does is, there are certain shots that, mainly the bathroom shots, that we noticed were too bright or too dark. So we applied, so like this, the one I'm highlighting just now. So we applied certain filters, color grading to create a more cinematic effect. But also with certain, but also it was a logistical thing, because we needed all the footage to look the same and to look dark, and we darkened some of the images as well, because we want it to be as creepy and intense as possible, and by darkening it, it creates lots of these shadows which unsettles the audience. And again, in terms of colour, there are also several shots we use, such as this POV shot I'm just about to show you here. So we applied a red filter here. So as you can see, we've got lots of this red in here, red filter. This was used to create to kind of suggest, because red is associated with blood, with danger, evil, all these kind of things, and it's all about, essentially what editing is all about is trial and error, see what works, manipulation of the footage. It's all about manipulating it to make it the best it can be. And this was a very interesting learning experience for me because I've never done something like this before, and we learned a lot of this. Most of this was just from trial and error, and in terms of adding stuff to the visuals, I'll show you now. We've got, if we watch this, you'll see that there's kind of a shaking effect. Oh, there we go. There's a shaking effect of the camera, as you can see. So what this is it's called it's a shaking effect. So it's like an earthquake effect, I think is what it's called in here. Let me see if I can find it. And basically what it is that it applies this shaking effect. It adds to the sense in our movie of the supernatural, something's not quite right, and it just adds like a dreamlike, hallucinatory quality to it. And this was something that from before and after we changed it and added this effect, it just made the movie a whole lot better. It added to this atmosphere that we had in the movie. We also had use of draw masks. So if I just show you what they are, this was probably the most complicated part of it. It's about, so in this shot here, so if I show you what it's like without a draw mask, so I'll play you this clip now. This is what it's like without a draw mask. So as you can see this character in the window, and we decided that we didn't want him to appear. It didn't quite work out the way we'd want it to. So as you can see here, there's these little lines. These are like the audio control points, and they're basically, you draw these control points around what you want to crop, and then you replace it with some other image. So we replaced it, as you can see. Let me just enable this again. We replaced this with a black thing, and again another thing that we used for this was this title, as you can see here. Let's play the title of a movie, Beelzebub, to make it appear as if Ellie, the character in the screen, is blocking the title with her head and removing it. And it just adds to the atmosphere of the movie, and it's really useful. Again, like if there's a mistake that you made, it's something that's really useful that you can do to remove that mistake rather than having to go and refilm it again. We also had to use these pieces of music. So we got two pieces of music called the dramatic music, the inner demon, and we've also got different also got the hidden suspense and horror film score, and these really add atmosphere to it. And we had to research different types of music and what we wanted. And again, these audio, particularly this Jason Voorhees, this it's something that is so simple, but it really adds a lot of atmosphere. And in terms of editing that we did on the audio, I will show you this bit that we had. So we recorded a clip of our character, Ellie, saying something for the demonic ritual, and then we repeated the audio again, but this time we distorted it so that it sounded like a demon. So let me show you where it is. So here it is. There's these two here called the Face of Fear clip. So this is the first one. This is normal, clip, we applied echo sound to it to create more supernatural atmosphere to it, a more unusual feel to it, to unsettle the audience, unnerve them. And as you can see here, this second clip is exactly the same audio, but what we did was, as you can see here, we faded it in. There's a slight delay between the two starting, and basically what we did was we applied an audio filter to it. So as you can see here, we applied this filter called Monster. We shifted the pitch a bit, and as you can so yeah, and basically what we did was we created our own. So Monster isn't a preset, this is one of our own we created using different presets. So I think we used distortion and different things like that to create this demonic sounding effect. So we had one of our friends do a laughing sound, so, and this is it. So we applied different things to this. So we basically wanted it to sound almost unreal and otherworldly, supernatural. So we applied things like echo, large room to make it sound unusual, to unnerve, to unsettle the audience. It's all about these editing choices that we made to increase the tension the audience is feeling. And in conclusion, really, that's sort of really the last thing I've got to say. But in sort of to bring it together, essentially what we did was we learned on the job. I mean, I've gone through some of this with you of what we did and why we did it. And it's all about learning through trial and error, and learning through practicing and trying out different things and experimenting with the manipulation to get it the best it can be. Thank you for listening.